Hi, I'm Beezy. It's March 16th, Wednesday, day 3, or I'm not counting them down. I'd rather count them up. Seems like there's more of them that way to go. So, still more to go in my day in Pacific time, but been a little bit of well, I mean, on a scale, everything's relative, but in being perfectly neutral and absolutely in the moment and in the heart, I've bumped down a little bit. Seems to be the thing that really wanted to, the pups are playing, that really wanted to come play with me today. And actually, I'll start with that, and then because I've started to turn it around, so things are actually getting more expansive and definitely heart centered, because I can feel the energy running right this minute as I say this. And sorry, I'm trying to look in the right place because the way that the camera on this laptop is set up, it's a little higher. So if I look just at my picture in the camera, it looks, I mean, in the view screen, it looks like I'm looking down. So anyways, I'm gonna shoot the middle. So the part that was crunchy started early this morning, although a lovely thing happened, which I'm actually gonna write about. So that'll take me a little longer to get that out. But the crunchy thing today was time. Am I gonna have enough time? Can I do all the things that need to be done in these 40 days? Because technically I have 43, because I'm going to take, they'll owe me 3 days of paid time off, which since it's too hard to get it off ever, I'm taking it at the end. So after my last day, then I'll have 3 days where I still can stay here, live here, and then go. So anyway, so that was a thing that was kind of swirling around between the job, which hasn't gotten any really less, and then building my business, which is joyful. So that's kind of a plus in my gas tank, energetic and all that. It's spring, so there's much more stuff to do, of all sorts of stuff, physical and everything, in planting everything that I usually plant around here. Cleaning out, it's a tiny house, and I'm not a stuff gathering person, but even so, there's always seems to be stuff to go through and sorting out, figuring out what to take, especially since I'm not sure of the total square footage of in the West, we call them rigs, but the rig will incorporate how many wheel axles on it. So that's part of it. Part kind of not really worry, but into, kibitzing a little and crunchy, I guess is the best word, about, I need to pay more attention, like for the founding members, and create content for that. And there's a couple other things that I'm working on. I've got this radio interview coming up that was scheduled a while ago. That was another synchronicity, which I didn't know at the time, for all of this walk. That's tomorrow. Full moon, St. Patrick's Day, big energy for that. For the radio station in Kimberly, Texas, in the Texas Hill Country. And that's part of why it's a synchronicity. Anyway, so those things were coming up, and it was really nice because they wanted to come in full time, and they wanted to just grab a hold of my mind or freeze me in, worry or spinning or fatutzing or anything that some people name them different things. And I said, nope. And there were moments where I would repeat various feeling and saying mantras. The one from Blossom Goodchild, I am the light, I am the love, I am the truth, I am. That was one. Violet Fire, one to help clear all of that. Just one that I started decades ago, probably when I was in my late teens. I think at first to kind of trick myself, convince myself that I was lovable and loved and all that. And that was I am love, I am loved, I am the love. And I'm not sure where that came from, perhaps from all of me. So various different things. And then, different, my different master guides and stuff. So I kind of pulled out different things, and they're just a little bit here and a little bit there, just to stop that whole thing. And got more into, I think I mentioned this a little bit yesterday in the day, about, the now moment is now, but it encompasses all of me. And so I've been doing more of inviting high Christ consciousness and my guides, my whole, I guess you'd call it a team, um, playing partners, that are from many realms and pretty magical beings. I'm not big on naming things, but anyways, a couple archangels and stuff, and so just saying, will you come walk with me while I go do this project now, or will you, different things. And that was interesting because it was automatically intentional, like I had, someone right here in my high heart, one of the beings saying, hey, remember that little thing? Do that now. You look like you're starting to spin up there. No, do that now. Say that now. Feel that now. Look at that beautiful tree now. Watch that bird for a minute now. And yes, that's happened before, but it was this really fun, very playful, all the land alchemy was involved. All of the, even kind of random people at work were involved, although they had no idea they were involved in that. Just so everything was conspiring in my favor to be playful, to take the one little bit of a thought or the one little step in one direction of more constricted or lower energy direction, and like grab my hand and do-si-do and hey, let's do some flash dancing or something. And so it was cool because I never was allowed to, however you phrase it, many different ways, to go in that place. So that was very cool. And it allowed me to then play with a bit of the practical side of, and how I wanted to kind of tackle this time I have going and what I wanted to do. And one thing, just, kind of steps and stages, was to tackle some of the parting with, cleaning up, giving away sort of thing. One of the things that's a challenge for me here is because I live on a private ranch and it's gated. I know I'm not allowed visitors unless they're, cleared and approved, and it's only occasionally. So I can't do put ads on Craigslist or Facebook marketplace or anything like that and have people come and look at stuff. I mean, it's one thing if I drive out of the other side of the gate onto the county road and they've already agreed and they can look at it, but I don't want to be schlepping everything back and forth if people change their mind. So that's a little bit of a thing I need to figure out. And my way around it is just to ask people around here if they're interested, and not so much to sell. I mean, if they want to offer money, that's fine. But I like the idea, and the visualization really was fun for me, was that I would be transferring the energetic makeup, the frequency, the vibrational value, let's say, it's not quite the right what I'm trying to get at, of whatever this thing was that I had to do with gardening stuff, or really cool specimen trees in my own garden that I put in, or all sorts of stuff. I've got tools for doing the crystal and gem carving that I've been playing with some crystals and that kind of stuff. And if someone liked the idea of it, if it brought them joy, then just in the giving it was to me a way to kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Reconfigure that energy. So that energy in that, whatever the object was, let's say, went to someone else and there's joy there and they liked it, then the vibrational value, the energetic value of that would come back around in some other form, in some other way down the road, and show up to me in something else. So this is why I'm sitting this way, so you can see the homie sitcom. Hi, home. So that was a lovely thought. Aside from, if someone said, yeah, I'd really like that, I could use that. Cool. And then another thought was, some people, they either really want to, or I think because they just open-heartedly want to, and they really want the stuff, and so they want to exchange money for it. I had the thought, well, we'll let them decide what it is that they think it's worth to them. And if they, as I go through this whole process, they may find more things. The things I have are they're useful for certain very specific focuses. If you like that, cool. But that maybe if they wanted to, then they could buy me a gizmo if I needed something, like a water pressure gauge for the RV, or just and do it that way. And I really love the energetic of that, because here they were taking something, again, was helping me move it because I can't take it with me. It was really exciting them because they like it and it's useful to them, and the money exchange part has more value for me because they're turning, again, that energetic value, whatever you call it, frequency is being turned into something of the new, totally new energy for where I'm going. So that was the thing that I played with. I had a couple examples with actual people, one on the phone, and that lives not that, about 40 miles away, and then someone here. So that was it, and that helped move through it. And one of the main things, I just wrote a note here about that, is that this is a wonderful, I mean, I know the concept, I practiced it, but this is a wonderful, I'd hoped it would be, and I think all of my team hoped it would be, but I'm seeing in practice, this is a wonderful walking meditation. But what I'm really getting at, this is a way to completely take myself out of the old matrix, completely take myself out of the old way of being and doing everything. Yet I haven't moved an inch, still the same place, still the same job, all that kind of stuff. But it's as if the moment I started that clock, the moment that I had the personal conversation with the general manager Sunday night, and then officially, handed my letters of resignation the next morning, the moment that started, it was like, whew, I stepped out of the old construct completely, on every level of job as well, and into a totally new vibration, a new energetic, totally new. And when, for instance, when I'm thinking about my business and stuff like that, instead of doing a balance what I was doing before, well, there's the old way, marketing, all that kind of stuff, and then there's the new earth way, what was coming to me, what was downloaded, all that kind of stuff, and balancing that. And I seem to have stepped completely out of all of that. So what do I mean by that? Well, first of all, just exactly what I said, everything is different. I suppose if I focused on it, I could remember the old rules, but I don't even go to them to then modify them to be the new rules, if that makes sense. I simply have that vantage point, that vista, that focus, that innate ability to move and work within that. And that has been very helpful. And it's been a very valuable noticing for me to kind of go, oh, wow, you are doing that. Because you just had that conversation in a totally different way. And since the attachment or the, I guess maybe a little bit would have been worry or eye rolls or whatever, I'm not I'm not hiding or partitioning any of me just in how I show up or how I talk or how I shine my energy or any of those kinds of things. I'm not kind of partitioning any of that off. I'm not hiding any of it. I'm not bringing any of it down. I'm not, the bushel basket is gone. So those two things combined in just this 2 3/4 days have been dramatic and fun. And even though people couldn't describe it, are noticeable to the ones around here, and even some people who, like I said, by phone, were a little bit out there, as far as all of themselves. I've said something's different. It feels good. It feels different. So that's cool. And the reason I bring that forward, because hey, it's cool. I'd like to share, but regardless of what anyone is doing or what they're shifting, that's going to be a tremendously valuable superpower tool, quantum toolbox, toy box tool to bring forward to completely step out and bring all of you in the moment. Talk about being in the now. That is the now of that configuration, the now of that vibration, but intentionally, consciously doing it always in every nanosecond of the now moment. And again, that I want to play with this more and do a bigger, more involved video about that. But this really fully aligning with my future self and all of those things, because there really is no such thing. I mean, it exists, but probably a better way, instead of going, future and past, right? It might be, going up this way or out in concentric, toroidal rings of consciousness. And it's all right here. It's all right now. And it's all integrating. In fact, the process of this cosmically delicious idea, or from a linear aspect, really irresponsible harebrained idea, they'll find out that's not the case. But anyways, has put it all into sync now. It's like I've come into phase lock with all of myself, and it feels great. It's a different feeling for me, even. So it's cool. So that's just still kind of short. That's still just a short summation of today. It's been fascinating, and perhaps tonight or tomorrow, whatever, I'll write up this very interesting thing that occurred, that started in the wee hours when I was doing centering and setting the sacred space and all that kind of stuff. And it involved other people who are friends, but nowhere near related, and didn't know what was going on. And it's like we intersected in each other's happenings, but they all lined up, complete with, a text chime going off that I just marked in my head roughly what time that was and what was happening that I was doing, and then later looked at that timestamp for that mark for what I was doing and thought, well, there's another piece of my storyline, there's another piece of my puzzle. So quite fascinating. So in other words, it was a tangible, these different beings were having so all over the country, actually, West Coast, Central, and East Coast time, all in the United States. Oh, there might have been one who sent an email about the right time for all of this. But anyways, it's interesting because it's a tangible noticing of we're all connected. and we are our beautiful singularities at the same time, and we are all in the wharf and weave of each other, and what one is doing in their own expansion, in their own, letting go of, in their own expansion of their consciousness, and intentionally holding their vibration, higher and higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, and exuding that, emitting that, transmitting that, it affects everything. And those that are doing just as I just described, higher and more expansive and consciously, intentionally, then those signals mean up, and they come into a cohesive structure which coalesces more things from that, which rain down, information to those beings for themselves and what's going out in their sphere, to the number that are doing it together, although having no idea at that moment that they were doing it together, and that brings up a whole thing there. But then as it goes into the collective, because added to what I said, there's someone today came and had used an exact phrase that had come from all of this that I'm talking about, that I'll write about, seemingly, out of place for what was going on and the reason they'd come over and say something to me. But I smiled, I thought, it's like someone put a line, they got nudged to speak that phrase, and it surprised them a little, and they just kept on going. So again, messages and connections to me. So it's been, a little bit of a this kind of a day, but it's good. And I'd say I'll ending the afternoon, beginning of the evening for me, with only a tiny splinter of a focus of, yeah, but yeah, but on the 26th, where are you sleeping? And where are you going to spend the last week in April? So there, I've given voice to it, and just to own up to that, that there is a little bit there, and I'll play with that and see if some thoughts, some inspiration, some movement comes to sort that out, or let it go for now. Or so, I've done a lot of materializing and even moves and trusting, but never on this scope. And something is distinctly different, bigger than it. It's like the moment I go on the other side, or maybe get on it's kind of like a farm road, it's a highway, it's not very big, but just out there, as soon as I get that for the first time, it's like there is going to be rocket fuel on the back of whatever I'm driving, and I will shoot into the light. Fantastic. So I hope all of you are doing great, and that whatever it is that you're playing with, whatever it is that you're seeing, that you're wanting to call to you, whether you've started already or not sure how you could do it, or you have to wait, or whatever it is, that you reframe all of that, that you play along and think, well, maybe I want to do that, or listen to the nudges and notice what's going on, because there's big stuff happening for every being. They've only to meet it and connect with it and play with it and start bringing it right into your, accept delivery of it and take it now, because that's the only way we can get it. We've got to have it be at the behest. Everything is at the behest of us. We are the genesis of all of that. And unless we start genesising, saying, yes, I want this. Yes, I'm going to be neutral, or yes, I'm going to step forward, or yes, I'm going to listen to the guidance of this, or yes, I'm going to notice these dots and connect them, or flow with these synchronicities. Unless we do that deliciousness, that wonderfulness, those dreams, those new things, those shifts in something small or something big can't flow in because it's an ask and receive multiverse that we live in. And we're the driver of it. And we need to give our consent, assent, welcome to that. I love you. Have a good night.